Welcome to Make Sylacauga Healthy Again. I'm your host, Dr. Jonathon Douglas of Broadway Spinal Care. Today we're going to continue our series on critical thinking, and this is something that we hear about in the clinic all the time. You hear about it in the news all the time. It has just come out of nowhere. And I think the reason it's come out of nowhere is because it's one of those too good to be true situations. And whenever that happens, people like to jump on that bandwagon. So today we're going to talk about GLP-1 shots. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're going to learn a lot. I'm talking about Wegovy, Mounjaro, those kind of things. They have a real benefit for some people, and they have a huge risk for others. Stay tuned. So as we get started today, we're going to go into biochemistry, which I'm sure is everybody's favorite topic. I used to tutor biochem, taught classes in biochem, so if I go in too in depth, I'm sorry. But you kind of need to know what we're talking about to understand why this GLP-1 thing is such a big deal and what we're trying to accomplish with these shots in the medical world. So we have a graphic for you right here. This is the mechanism of action, and that's something you talk about when you look at drugs, of this GLP-1. So you take a shot, it releases this hormone in your body, which is GLP-1. You're not injecting GLP-1, you're injecting a drug that makes you make more of it. It reduces your appetite, it increases your insulin secretion. So insulin is the hormone that takes sugar out of your blood, so it lowers your blood sugar. And it slows your gastric emptying, which means that your stomach holds food longer. And if it holds food longer, then it signals your body that you're full, and so you don't eat as much. The problem with it is that there are two hormones in the body that tell you that you're full. One of them is this glucagon-like protein, GLP-1. And GLP-1 in your body tells you that you're full right now. And that's very important. This is a short term, like I just had enough to eat. I don't need to eat anymore right now. There's a second one called leptin, and leptin is released from fat. And leptin will tell you, I'm full and I have enough energy stored. The problem is that once you override this leptin mechanism and you eat and you eat and you eat and you store more fat and you store more fat and you store more fat, then your body basically starts thinking, maybe I don't know how much fat we should have, so it just completely ignores the whole leptin mechanism, and that's how you can expand, and you see people that can eat and eat and eat and put on heavy, huge amounts of weight that are just completely unnatural for the body to store, is because they override this leptin mechanism. The beauty of this GLP-1 is the GLP-1 shots make you release the short-term hormone, but release it long-term. So you basically make it have the action of the leptin. And that sounds really good. And for people who have real hormonal issues and have serious diabetes, it can be life-changing because it does allow you to bring your blood sugar down in a way that really nothing else can. And it can help manage weight when there is no other choice. That is the key thing, when there is no other choice. But the problem is that we're seeing young people who have a little bit of extra weight. We're seeing young moms who want to get their mom body back, and they start taking this shot when they are not in the category of someone who has diabetes, and they're not in the category of somebody who has tried all of these other lifestyle choices and nothing can happen. So what happens when you start taking this and you're not a good candidate for it, which is by far the majority of people who are actually taking this right now? We have another graphic to talk about it. The first thing you're going to get is what's called gastroparesis. This is something you do not want. It means that your stomach no longer contracts. Now, if you remember, that's one of the mechanisms of the GLP-1 shots, is it stops your stomach from contracting. But this can be permanent, and they do not know why, but some people can have very few of these shots, and they can actually develop this and never come out of it. The only treatment is that you're going to have major dietary changes, like you have to puree everything that you eat and only eat small amounts. Some people can take medications that will get your stomach to start contracting again, but they have all kinds of side effects. Some people are on feeding tubes. And I have seen people on feeding tubes because of gastroparesis. You do not want that situation, I promise. If you've never met anyone that's on a feeding tube, then look into it. But before you take that shot, you need to say, is this worth, am I in that category of the diabetic who can't do anything else? If not, you really need to think about, do I want my stomach to not work in the future? Because that is a real possibility. Second possibility that is actually quite common too, and in my mind even scarier than the gastroparesis, is our next graphic. We're looking at kidney failure. So kidney failure is something that you go on dialysis for your entire life, or you end up with a kidney transplant. Neither one of those are easy options. Neither one are something you want if there was a lifestyle and diet change that could have avoided it. And you might think that I'm exaggerating some of this. You should look up the statistics. People who are not good candidates for GLP-1 shots develop these things at a very, very high rate. Look into it. Critical thinking is the key to all of this. Our last graphic is talking about gallbladder disease. Again, something you do not want. The gallbladder is critical for you to digest fats. You can take it out, a cholecystectomy. You can also break up the stones potentially, but you do not want gallbladder disease. That's just the beginning of the side effects on this. Some people develop vision loss. Some people develop muscle wasting. So, as we think about something that's too good to be true in our continuing series on critical thinking, I want you to start thinking, is it possibly too good to be true? And is there any other alternative? Because the better alternative for someone who has a few pounds to lose, or even a pretty good amount of weight to lose, that doesn't fall into this diabetic category that's a really good candidate, is there are lifestyle choices, there are dietary choices, there are all the hard things that have to be done that could help you with that weight loss. But the shot, just think about it, guys. I've seen these people, I've talked to them. If they had known that this could happen, they would not have done it. And everybody always thinks that they're different than the other person. This is not going to happen to me. And I talk to people a lot, we talk to people in the clinic a lot, that they just happen to be that person. They thought they were the person it wasn't going to affect. They ended up being that person, and now they're in a really serious situation, and they wish they had done a little more critical thinking. So I'm going to leave you with the last graphic. Hope without effort is a beggar's religion. Wishing changes nothing, action does. So that applies to our critical thinking. It also applies to diet and lifestyle choices. So the Eagles told us best, I think, if we're going to use a music lyric that'll sum this up. It's like Hotel California. You can check out anytime you want, but you can never leave. And that's the case with this GLP-1. Once you get on this track, it's a lifetime drug. And you might be able to check out of it at some point, but you might check out with some baggage that equals gastroparesis, kidney failure, vision loss, or muscle wasting. We'll see you next time.